Welcome to this episode of the Business of Real Estate podcast with Lynn, Hoffmann, and Eric Johnson. This week, we're talking all about transaction management systems, and we're joined by the Vice President of Sales, Jennifer Johnson, of DealTrack, which is a new player in the market. And really, Lynn, as we know, a lot of people want to get focused on the sales aspect and dealing with clients, but this is a legal transaction after all. There is a lot of paperwork. And it is the real estate agent's job to manage all of that, correct?
Absolutely. Although sometimes they're not as aware of that as they should be.
Yeah, exactly. And so managing that is extremely important. And so we want to welcome Jennifer to the show. Thank you. And I'm going to be upfront. Jennifer and I do know each other quite well because we are married. Jennifer is my wife. So, but it's episode 40 some before we had her on. So
no favoritism.
No favoritism at all. It took us like 15 to get our broker owner on. So, Jennifer, I know your background, but for the agents out there, you've been former operations manager with Remax Escarpment, Remax Twin City. You were in sales with Fall Tour, which became Next One, one of the other transaction management systems out there. So walk us through a little bit, like what exactly is DealTrack and how does it differ from some of the others out there?
Sure. So I'm so excited about this product because one, I was able to be involved in developing it, and with my experience and knowledge dealing with real estate agents, dealing with operations, dealing with the back end of a transaction, I was able to implement some efficiencies in there for agents, for broker owners, for administrators. And so some of the things that are different is that we've created an eco platform for realtors to be able to give their clients the ability to have visibility into their journey. So if you're someone who deals with a lot of leases and you have a property management company you deal with, what a great way to give them access to all the leases that are happening with their property. If you're dealing with an investor that you deal with multiple transactions, again, you're giving them a platform that they can now manage all of that information. Some of the other players are lawyers. So lawyers they also have visibility into the system. Mortgage brokers have visibility into the system as well. So it really brings everyone who's part of this journey into one place for the client to be able to manage. We have had some great feedback from the agents who have been able to address some of these changes to their clients. And we have some agents who, still think it's scary to open things up to their clients, and that's okay, but it's there. So it's there when they need it to be there. And, I always say a system is only as good as a system is until you need it, right? Yep. So it's Saturday night and you need documents, but you're out and about and you don't have access to your computer or it's not on your phone, but you can get your clients to have access because they've received a welcome to DealTrack email, so they can go in and create their own logins. One of the other things we've done that I think is very different in the industry is we've created a payments platform within the system. So now clients have a secure platform that they can share deposits with, the brokerage, instead of just deposit instructions floating on the internet. So it will really help correct the industry that we won't be transferring funds into trust accounts we shouldn't be because we've sent the wrong deposit instructions to another agent, which happens. And so clients now have the ability to either do an instant payment or they can still go through and do all their normal deposits like they would like. They can still go get a bank draft. They can still drop it off at an office. They can still, whatever the brokerage has for deposit instructions, they can still utilize all of those deposit instructions. It's just done through the portal now. So someone will have to go into their portal to be able to retrieve information, which is a secure way to transfer funds.
So I think two things that came up for me there was, one is security, and the other is on the payment side, I think can easily be overlooked, the efficiency of that, because as we know, and there are agents that, they don't change up their agreements. And it says within 24 hours, instead of changing and realizing, hey, it's a long weekend or it is the weekend, they're not going to be able to get to the bank. So correct me if I'm wrong, but the ability for this program is that client, if they have the money, and it's not like an e-transfer, this is what they call a pad agreement they fill out, so it allows them to transfer the large amount of money. If they have all that money available and it's the weekend, they can just transfer that over for their deposit, correct?
Correct. So they'll also be able to do it from multiple banks. If they would like to take a portion from one bank account and a portion from another, it will accumulate it into one deposit.
Okay, and then, so then the other big piece, obviously, and you said like some agents are a little leery, and I get it, but there is a lot of security built into this.
Correct.
So it's not just any lawyer can come in, and the other thing is the efficiency in that, so the lawyer, the mortgage professional, who they're contributing documents, et cetera, and previously, like everybody's sort of out of the loop. Like I send you, we would have to send them the agreements. That's when they get it. Oh, what else is going on? Or the mortgage agent's trying to figure out where things are. They can see what's been done. But we do limit that. There is a lot of security around that, correct?
Correct. There is a lot of security. The developers that helped design this system come from banking. So their background is in banking, so they're very familiar with all the security levels that need to happen to make sure that we don't share information we shouldn't.
Okay.
So typically, how many people would have access to that portal? So you said the clients obviously get a welcome letter. Does the lawyer get a similar letter, and the mortgage broker, they get similar portal? And does their access allow them to see everything as well?
So great question. So the lawyer receives an invitation, so we call them invitations. The mortgage broker would also receive an invitation, and they would only see the documents that were shared to them. So it's no different than OneDrive or Google Docs, where you would share access. So the brokerage, the client or the real estate agent has to share the document for them to be able to access it. And then the lawyer would also have to share documents with the clients for them to have access to it.
Okay, but that's basically, like you said, no different than OneDocument or Google Drive or things like that. So everybody gives permission before they go and
Correct.
share it. So you mentioned that some of the agents are scary about letting this information. What would make it scary for them?
I think it's just the unknown. It's new. I believe it's the next era of real estate. Tressa did not happen because we were doing a great job at giving visibility to clients. It happened because clients shared a major pain point for them. And a major pain point meant that they weren't getting the information they thought they needed to make an executive decision. So we wanted to be able to give an agent the ability to give their clients that portal for them to have access to their information.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, we keep talking about it as a transaction management system. We'll call it TMS for short. But that is integral for an agent's business, because they need to know, hey, what documents? And from the brokerage level, hey, we need these documents. Maybe an agent forgot to include that. They can quickly see, right? Like any of them, let's face it, all of them do that to some degree, is allow you to see what documents you're missing, which ones need to be get in. And I think for a lot of agents, maybe they don't necessarily see the importance, but as somebody who's been in operations, as I'm sure I know you've dealt with some audits, right? There are times where it's like, hey, this agent is missing paperwork.
Yeah.
And, as we said at the beginning, this is a legal transaction.
Yeah.
Like, this is nothing to dismiss lightly. How, as somebody who's been in operations, how integral is that to the running of a brokerage?
We are always sitting on pins and needles when Rico comes a knocking. That's never a secret. And, you know, FinTrack as well has been really cracking down on auditing brokerages. And, you know, it's imperative that a brokerage really take these things seriously. And it's hard because there's a lot of documentation that agents need now for a transaction that, you know, the biggest comments I get all the time are from my seasoned agents who said, remember when we used to do this with a handshake and a piece of paper that you had to really force the pen down and like get through all 6 carbon copies? And, you know, now we're at, I don't even know how many OREA forms there are, but there are hundreds of forms for all different types of reasons. And they didn't create them because there was a lack of forms. They created them because something happened and then a form needed to happen to make sure that didn't happen again.
Yep.
So the systems that are there to protect agents and to make sure that they are reminded to get the proper documentation in. Multiple representation is a big one that we see a lot of agents miss, which is so important because, again, it's sharing that the agent has done their due diligence in informing both parties that they are representing both sides. And that's all it is. They just want visibility to know that that's what's happening. So RICO has, developed a system to make sure that they protect the clients. It's keeping agents accountable to what they need to do. And we're trying our best to make sure that that happens for audits, for brokerages, because it's something that, you know, no brokerage ever wants to sit through, but we all have to. So we want to make sure that we can protect as best as we can.
And sorry, real quick question before we turn to you, Lynn, is so when the lawyer or the mortgage professional gets the invitation, do you know when the lawyer has connected in?
Yes, so we do see visibility. So from a brokerage perspective, we love this feature. As soon as a deal is firm, a lawyer automatically gets an invitation. And that helps prevent, because we are human and we make mistakes, it's 5 days before closing, we forgot to send this one to the lawyer. So it helps a brokerage inform the lawyer as soon as it's firm that things have been sent out. One of the other features we have that is also automated for our agents is that they can put in their Google review link or any survey link if they use a different survey platform, that they can, as soon as a deal goes firm as well, then it will automatically send out that invitation for the clientele. We don't always want to send it on closing because that's always not pleasant, but when it's firm, everybody's happy. So that's when we suggest to send things out. Yes.
Okay.
I was going to ask, once an agent starts using DealTrack, their brokerage takes on DealTrack, and then they start using DealTrack. What do you think is the typical learning curve for them to become so efficient with it that it actually saves them time and makes them more efficient in the long run?
Yeah. Again, that's a great question because we get a lot of agents who are, you know, one of their biggest hiccups is this takes so much time. You know, when I present this in front of agents, my opening act is, who got into this business to be a marketing coordinator and an administrator? Nobody. They all laugh and they're like, this is the worst, which it is. I get it because they have to do a lot of administrative work. But we tried to create some efficiencies in there. And again, it's that statement of you don't need it until you need it, right? When you're out and someone asks you a question and you're able to access your documents or where the journey is, so you can see that it's been sent to the lawyers. You can see who's opened documents. So there's a lot of history in the system. And so we're not bound to, I have to call the office, right? Now you have accessibility to all that information, which will help agents when they're, you know, struggling to kind of find that information. And that's when they start to find the efficiencies. It is an industry that has turned into a tech industry. Everything is all about tech. Everything is an app. everything is some type of form of computer-based something that they have to learn. And so the quicker someone can learn and have ease using it, that's when they'll start to see efficiencies within the system.
What do you think is a typical time frame? And I know that's hard to quantify because everybody's going to be different, but let's say they genuinely want to get themselves really working it.
Yeah.
There must be a curve up because
Yeah.
they're not used to doing a lot of this.
Well, I mean,
And-
to some point, most places are using Next One or SkySlope. I mean, is it very much different? How similar is it in terms of operating and uploading, et cetera? Is
Yeah.
it similar? Very similar?
It's very similar. So we've onboarded now, I think we're on like brokerage 19, 20. And out of those brokerages, the brokerages that had systems were very quick to pick it up because they had already implemented something similar. For brokerages that had not had a transaction management system, they're the ones that the learning curve's just a little bit longer, but not much longer. If you're comfortable with technology, it's usually within the first few transactions, you're good to go. If you're not comfortable with technology, the problem is agents think they can't use it until they need it. But if they actually practiced and put up fake deals, they and just inform the office, please delete this one because the office has the accessibility to delete things, then they could just continue to practice, right? I always say when, Friday night, get a glass of wine when you have free time, and, it's always a chuckle because they typically don't have free time. But practicing is always something that I suggest to agents. I'll give you a quick story. So when Snapchat first came out, I loaded it on my phone and I used it for about a week and thought, this is horrible. I don't like this. I'm deleting it. And then I thought, no, because I am a proponent of change. So I have to learn it so that I can learn how to use it. And it took me a little while to get there, but I did get there. And that's all it is. It's just taking the time to learn about it so that it's not fearful, right?
Yeah.
You can't break it. It'll make a mistake, but you can't break it.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of change. I mean, we both know agents who've been in the industry long enough that remember the books.
Yeah.
When they had control of all the listings, and then to put it online, oh my God, we're giving up control. And we've seen so many changes, right, Lynn?
And they don't like to
over the-
practice either. And we've
Oh,
talked
no,
about
no,
this
for sure.
a lot of times.
For sure they don't, but there's been, change is inevitable. And I think anything that can automate, the whole transaction management side of things, I think it's incumbent, like you said, they didn't get into the business, be an admin or marketing, et cetera, but that automation is really key, I think, I don't have to worry about each little step, just like using a CRM, we've talked about it. You can automate certain things, the activity plans, action plans, whatever your program calls it, whether it's drip campaigns or task lists. I'm just curious in terms of automating and trying to make it easier for the agents. I know just because our brokerage is using this, there is AI built into this that can help make the job a little bit easier, correct?
Yeah,
When it's
yeah.
scanning through, because it can, what is it? It'll pick out the dates. Explain that a little bit.
So there's OCR scanning. And so there's a few different areas that we have some automation. One is on the listing side, we have compared offers. So where you can scan your APSs that you are going to share with your client. Again, if your client has access to the portal, they'll be notified that there are offers in there to view. They'll be able to favorite. If they want to favorite some, they can favorite them. But then the agent can select the ones that the client wants to compare, pick them, and then hit a compared button, and it will compare it on a spreadsheet below. So they can visually see closing dates, irrevocable dates, conditions, price, all the important things to the client, and then they can accept the one that they want to accept and move, and it will create a transaction. So it will automatically create a transaction as soon as you've as soon as you accept it on the listing side. And then on the deal side, we have OCR scanning where you can upload the APS. It will scan the entire document and it will add closing date, it will add title search date, it'll add conditions, it'll add terms and conditions. So it'll add the fixtures and the chattels as well, because the lawyer has access to it, and that's information that the lawyer needs. But I always say it's a great extra step for an agent to just kind of skim through and make sure that all the information is in there that they need. But it will pick up client names, it will pick up broker names. So yeah.
So that's very interesting. So right now, if an agent has multiple offers, they obviously send them to their client and they have this discussion in an environment such as this, whether they're sitting face to face with paper or whatever, or they're reading it over. But now what you're saying is they would actually load those. They'd actually load them, which is not something that happens typically
No.
with
In
Next
another,
One or
right.
Faltor or anything like that. So now they load them. I mean, that doesn't take a long time, obviously, but now they actually have them all in one spot where the client, if they were a remote client, could
Access them.
physically go through that, and the system puts it in a spreadsheet for them.
Correct. And if there's ever a RICO issue,
Right.
you have them all time-stamped
Yes.
as well. So everything is logged properly so that they can give access to RICO all the information if there's ever an issue.
And that goes to your point, you don't need it until you need it.
Exactly.
So when there's a claim, and we got lots of them all the time, everything's in one spot where RICO can look at it, and there's really not much argument if they're timestamped properly.
Correct.
So that little bit of extra time to load it could save potentially a lot of time in the end.
Yes.
Now, how are we doing as a brokerage on encouraging our people to use that particular part of
Yeah.
the system, the ecosystem?
Well, I mean, we're not in a market that there's multiple offers. There
There's
are a few, but it's
couple.
not
not
like it was,
lots.
right?
Not
I mean, if
predominant.
It's not
yeah,
predominant.
if I had started DealTrack in 2020, it would have been a different story.
Yes, it would have.
For many reasons, but yes, it would have been a different story.
Yeah.
So right now, it's more used for the sending out deposit instructions because it's done in the same space, right? Because listing, the offer belongs to the listing, which is where the deposit needs to come from.
Right.
So that's where they're utilizing that space. So I feel that when agents are going to be using the multiple offers, because they'll be using that section for deposits, they'll be very familiar with it and be able to utilize that information and be able to share that with their clients.
What would you tell an agent is the most, what would you tell an agent whose brokerage hasn't agreed to use DealTrack? What would they say to their broker owner to give a compelling reason why they start this?
So, and it's so funny because I was just going to say,
Say the
what's the
same thing.
advantage? Well, I was going to say it differently. Is
Yes.
what's the advantage for the broker owners out there, or somebody, a sub brokerage, whatever, wanting to bring this in, because that ultimately has to be buy-in from the brokerage,
Yeah.
right? And
Right.
to your point, the agent has to go to the broker owner.
Right.
So what's that buy-in? What's the advantage to a broker owner?
I'm
Right.
asking what the agent's pitch is to the broker. Like,
Yeah,
you get enough
I think our
agents,
biggest
what's
pitch
the
right
pitch?
now, the biggest pitch that agents have is one, deposits, the security level for deposits, the having a portal to be able to share with their clients for agents who are comfortable with it and who see value in giving their clients visibility into their journey. That's a big opportunity that they're sharing with their broker owners. The other thing is with DealTrack, and an agent wouldn't necessarily know this to pitch it to their broker owner, but when we're talking to broker owners, our experience in operations has been very helpful to brokerages who have onboarded with us, because we aren't the type of system that come in and say, how would you like to design this? We say, here's a benchmark of where a brokerage sits for operations, and then you can tweak it here and there. Having the ability to be able to have an operations manager sit at the table, deal administrators sit at the table to say, here's how we've done it. We'd like to give you some suggestions, has been received very well. Brokerages all understand that they can always do something a little bit better. And so they want to have some advice behind the system, not just say, here's the system. Because what happens is, and I say this a lot when I'm sitting with broker owners, is giving someone a nail gun and not teaching them how to use it is like using a nail gun with a hammer. It's gonna take you longer, it's gonna be heavier, the staff aren't gonna like it, but you don't know any other way because you still have the hammer that you're using, but you just bought a nail gun because they told you it was gonna be faster. So we like to come in and give some benchmark levels of like where things should be at a brokerage.
So basically, DealTrack is a template for each brokerage of what they should be doing. So
Yeah.
a baseline template. You could probably tweak a few things, but not really a lot.
Right.
Is what I'm hearing. 'Cause
Real
what's the
estate
point of what's the point of buying that automatic nail gun if you're still going to use the hammer?
Exactly.
There's no point of it.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
Okay, but for the agent's point of view, because there'd be agents that are maybe watching this and
Yeah.
say, I'd like to do that because I want to make my life easier, and Tressa does say I'm supposed to be more transparent with my client. So what's the number one thing they would say? That is it the security deposits, the portals?
Security deposits and being able to get paid quicker.
Okay, see there now. What's in it.
Yeah.
Now you're getting to it. The what's in it for me.
Yeah, getting paid quicker. So as soon as the documents are all accepted, as soon as a brokerage receives money, there's this little button on the agent's screen that says get paid. So they have access to that button, but only until everything has been done. And there's also automation for closing gifts. So they can automate a closing gift and just get it sent out to their clients. It's not for everybody. If people like to customize, that's fine. But a lot of agents are very happy with the options that are in the system. So they'll just very quickly add that to their list. So a lot of things in there that they don't have to remember, they can just automate within the system. And we're continuing to evolve with that. We're working right now on building out, and I don't know if you remember the product called MoveSnap.
Yes, I do.
But so I liked the
that around for a long
functionality.
time.
Exactly. I liked the functionality of
Yeah.
it, but I didn't feel that it was something that should have been all on its own. So we're
Yeah.
implementing some ideas around it within the system so that when you do invite your clients, like the sellers or the buyers, it will have checklists in there and it will send them reminders to get their address changed or, to file.
Utilities.
Exactly. So that kind of
All that kind of
functionality.
stuff. Yeah, that was a good system, but you're right, it was standalone, and I think it would be much better served in a bigger ecosystem, as you're saying. The get paid button is probably quite nice for agents.
Yeah.
They
Yes.
probably like and understand that. The other part you mentioned was they could get Google reviews. So the system asks the client for the Google reviews. That takes a little weight off the agent.
Oh, yeah.
People are uncomfortable with that. Does it offer templates of how that's written?
It does offer templates, but it also offers you the ability to turn it on or off.
Okay.
Because we all know not every transaction is one that you want to review. So you're able to turn it off if you need to.
Okay.
But yes, there's automation to it. It just sends them the link. And again, like I said, it's not just Google Review, it's any type of system that you would have a survey for.
Right.
And so, in terms of, I don't know what the right word is, territory, jurisdiction, but is this just an Ontario product? Can this be used in other provinces, in the US, wherever?
Yeah. So we right now are Ontario-based. We are an Ontario-based company. We are also, just for anyone who's curious, all of our documentation is on Ontario-based servers. We do have backup servers on other locations, other provinces, but they're hosted in Ontario. And we are branching out. We have, like Florida's reaching out, BC's reaching out, the states, we have realized that real estate is ready for the next era of real estate, and visibility and more functionality within a transaction is definitely where things are moving.
And in terms of, and I want to focus a little bit on the broker owners here, in terms of the staffing. So we talked about automating some things. DealTrack has that ability to support. So should some, you lose staff, maybe, and I know that there are brokerages out there that are backlogged. They can't process their deals. They just don't have that capacity to keep up. Maybe there's some people are part-time, whatever, but they're behind, and so their deals don't get entered in right away. So what's that ability for DealTrack to come in and help out somebody in that situation?
Yeah, great question. Thank you for asking. We are very proud of the fact that we've built a deals department. We can sit on the sidelines and help with the day-to-day data entry stuff, the stuff that doesn't require attention to an agent. So we always encourage brokerages to have those forward-facing staff members that agents are very comfortable working with, but let us take on some of that everyday backlog that you were mentioning, because what happens is we all know in real estate we're in peak markets, right? Sometimes we're really busy, sometimes we're not busy. So when we're really busy, what happens? All of the staff come to the broker owner and they're like, we're really busy, we need to hire more people. And then we go into a valley and then we're like, now what do we do with all these people? So we are very proud of the fact that we've built a system that will help brokerages with those types of pain points, or brokerages that are small and don't have deal administrators, but they need someone to kind of manage that for them. We are very well equipped. We have highly trained staff in deals with RICO issues and any type of FinTrack compliance. We want to make sure that we keep everyone on the up and up. We don't want any issues. But the brokerage would take on, like I said, the forward-facing staff. They still do the reporting if they need to, but we take on a lot of that backlog on the back end.
So you're not just selling the program, you're also selling a service. That's sort of an add-on, I guess, if they want
Correct.
to go with that or they don't.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity, I think, for brokerages who want to grow without having to add more overhead.
Yeah, because you're right. There's ebbs and flows in this, and the problem with hiring a lot of staff in a peak time, it's a no-win situation. You hire a lot of people in a peak time, and then it goes quiet, and then you don't need them, or you don't hire them, and you're behind on all your deals and all your other paperwork. So this seems like a much more efficient way to smooth out the line on that. Just one other question about the functionalities.
Before you get off, I think the other thing to point out is the fact that when it is that peak time and it's busy, trying to get the right people that are trained and know what they're doing, that's the tricky part.
That's almost impossible.
Everybody, I know, having been in IT before, like a lot of companies will say, no, we'll wait, we'll buy that software when we're busy, but then there's no time to train, so it's hard to train. So having that ability is nice, that when you do have that need, I don't want to pass up on that point, that's key.
My brain is just going back, though, to the deposits and return of funds deposits.
Yeah,
Because
so
that's always a fun thing. They're standing at the door and they want it back, and we may not even only just got the money back. We have to process it.
Right.
Blah blah blah. So
right. That is one of the sections that I believe is the most important, because people say, well, that's nice, you have deposits and like it's got a pad agreement and yeah, great, like, but what about getting my money back? And if you would like your money back instantly within, a 24-hour period, obviously there are stipulations that we need to follow. Yes, exactly. But the fact is it's more secure sending it through DealTrack than it would be sending an EFT link, because anyone can get in there. But with DealTrack, you as the person receiving the funds have to log into your portal. So only you have your login and your password. And everything has two-factor authenticator, obviously. But we want to make sure that those funds are protected and people are getting their money correctly. So it also gives someone the visibility to see, is it the right amount before they even get it, right? So that we can make some corrections, because sometimes things happen incorrectly. But it gives people the opportunity to look at it before they're actually going to receive the funds, so that they can make
Right.
sure that they're correct coming
And
in.
a lot of times, funds are sent back to two people when it really should have been one, or two people that don't have a joint bank account. So there's and then there's all sorts of other issues. So this way, the client has to log into their portal and accept it.
Correct.
That gives them the opportunity to flag a mistake or
Correct.
say not quite right. But they're going to get it back a lot faster. Agent
Correct.
doesn't have to pick up the phone and call them.
Correct.
Wait for the check to get to the office.
Correct.
There's a lot of benefit to that.
And balance to vendors as well. Yeah.
Right.
Balance to vendors will be in there. Return of deposits are in there. We're working on some secrets coming down in Q4 of 2026. But yeah, it's definitely the vision of efficiencies, security are big parts of what we're designing.
And I think there's such a big emphasis right now, and maybe a lot of agents don't understand the true importance, but we've seen recently, at least in Ontario, we've seen a number of brokerages get flagged by RICO, mismanagement of trust funds, et cetera, which is, the biggest thing we saw an overhaul of RICO. There is a big push for that security, and that's why they came up with TRESA, right? Bringing back trust into the real estate business. And I think this product does a lot of that. It addresses a lot of that, and I think the more agents embrace that, I think, Lynn, the more they embrace it, the easier it's going to be for them, because we're probably going to see a lot more audits, the RICO really looking at the different brokerages. They're talking about coming out with yearly statements you're going to have to provide. And what does that mean? Well, for the brokerage, it's going to eventually filter down to the agent, and you're going to be held accountable. You're going to be held accountable, okay, as an agent. And so it's important to make sure you have the right system that allows you to be worry-free on my transactions, right?
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's the importance of that security.
It's not
aspect.
going to change. This is going one way.
No.
So the faster you get on the bus and start to understand it and start to use it, the better off you're going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, you get run over by the bus and you're left behind.
Correct.
So I don't think that anybody's got a real choice about this. I was just looking at some pointers to help assure the agent and then the broker managers that this is the right way to go and this is exactly what's required. And at the end of the day, everybody's going to have a much easier life and a much more efficient, effective relationship with their clients.
Correct. Yeah. That's why I'm excited to work with this product. I'm excited to work with this product because it is going to change real estate. It's changing how a lawyer interacts with their clients. It's changing the ability for an agent to now see where the client is with their lawyer so that they can, have an extra white glove service of like, hey, I see you're going to sign your closing documents on such and such a date. If you need anything, let me know. So giving the agent more visibility as well through the journey, talking to their mortgage broker, not necessarily visibility to the conversations, but visibility to appointments, because the real estate agent will be alerted to any appointments that are made through the system so that they have touch points to speak to their clients as well. So it's definitely, you're right, it doesn't matter what system it is, everyone's getting onto something and it's inevitable. So we have to start learning to use something. And there's a big world out there with lots of real estate brokerages. So, we're not here to fix everyone's problems, but I am here to help anyone who would like us to help them fix their problems.
Is there a brokerage size that it should be before they consider this program?
No.
Like, for example, if they're in I call it the Death Valley, 1 to 30 agents, right?
Yeah.
It's a tough go. Is that too small?
No, you know what?
Is there
If you're a real estate agent and your brokerage wants to use it, anyone should be getting on it. Any system, they should be using something to have some type of visibility. Obviously, cost is a factor, and because we are Ontario-based, so our pricing is in Canadian dollars for brokerages who are looking to get on the system, which is, I think, plays a big factor, especially with, the border and things happening down south that, some Canadians aren't happy with. So they're quite happy to work with a Canadian company, which I'm happy to serve. But no, I think it's more of they need to look at what's happening in the market, right? And how can we build systems and processes that we're not having to go back and check over and over, right? Where it's like, oh, I did it, it's done, it's timestamped, move on. I did it, it's done, it's timestamped, move on. I did it, it's done, it's timestamped, move on.
The lawyer has the documents. Mortgage people have the documents. You know they're there.
Clients have gone in and viewed their portal,
Right.
right? The closing date is in there. Closing gifts getting sent out. The Google reviews gone out to them. Like it's becoming, if we don't build in those systems and processes, that's when things are going to fall through the cracks.
So a lot of my day is spent touching the same piece of paper 5 times. Right? Don't laugh. It's really not funny.
I know it's true.
I said 5. I'm probably being kind. So this system would help our operations not to have to do this. This system would help our agents not to do this.
Correct.
The system would help me not to have to pick up the phone and call deals and say, where is such and such, or, has it gone, or whatever. So
Right.
those are efficiencies, I think, that are very, very important. And if a company wants to do more business, they need these efficiencies before they can do more business.
Correct.
Yep, for sure.
Good plan.
Any other questions?
Lots.
That's okay. So one of the things we like to do is that at the end just ask, is there anything that we didn't ask you that you think is important that people out there should know about?
You guys asked some really great questions. I don't think so.
Who to contact? How do they go about it?
Yeah.
How do they go, an agent out there that's listening to us, how do they go about pestering their broker owner to get this done? How do the broker owners
So let me end it
contact
with
you?
this. If an agent or someone receives an email and it says something regarding DealTrack, it's not spam, click on it, read through it. If you're not familiar with it, call the 1-800 number on DealTrack.com, confirm that we have your information and that we've sent it to you. I never say click the link because we all know even CRA sends us links that we shouldn't click on. But our contact information is on our website. They can go on and look and contact us to make sure that it's the proper link that they should be clicking on. But that's my biggest thing is we are, because we're a newer TMS system, we're getting questioned of like, is this spam? And it's not spam. But again, I went through this 15 years ago when I worked at Next One, where lawyers were calling and saying, who are you? What is this? And so it's just getting familiar with the new names that are out there.
And then they changed their name, which made it even worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but the key is, though, that there are agents where the brokerage is not using DealTrack, but because they were part of a transaction with a brokerage that does use DealTrack, they will get an email.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's important for them to know that that's all this is allowing them that entry into the portal to access the documents that they're being approved for, et cetera, et cetera.
Correct.
Okay. That was one thing I know we didn't ask about.
We didn't
so
ask about
that's
that,
good.
but that is, that's about the contact part. That's very important to know.
You'd think I would know a
Yeah,
little bit
well,
more, but
you probably,
we
it's
also
all
don't
in
try
there
and
somewhere.
talk
It
a
just
lot of
doesn't come
business
out.
at home, but
Yeah, she needs a break.
yeah, no, for sure. For
But
sure.
the more brokerages that take this on, well, obviously that'll be infinitely easier for everybody.
Correct.
If they are working on the same idea. Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I mean, there's certainly so many great benefits to it. Next one was a good product.
Yes.
It
I
did a
have
good
nothing
job.
to
This
say.
is just an evolution.
It's just an
It is,
evolution.
It is
Yeah,
exactly
we're an
taking
evolution of that
and
product.
Then adding these other functionalities to
Yeah.
it that make it easier for everybody going for it. Not just easier, but transparent, secure, and a little bit of ease once you know what you're doing with
Mm-hmm.
it. So I think it's fantastic. It's been well received by us so far.
Mm-hmm.
I also wonder, just throwing it out there because I can't help but think of recruitment all the time, if you're coming from a brokerage that has this, why would you move to another brokerage that doesn't have this,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So it's a retention thing as well, I think, in a lot of ways
Mm-hmm.
for people.
Yeah. Agents want visibility as well to their stuff, right? The one biggest question I get from agents when I'm presenting this is, how do I know I got paid? And so I can show them how they got paid. And they have access to their little get paid button.
I'm just going to say, there's a get paid button there
Yeah,
somewhere, I heard.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. So
that's-
they have total control over that. Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming on.
Yes, thank you. Thank
Sorry
you
it
for
took
having
know
so
me.
you're
long
busy.
to get
Yeah.
you on here.
Well, she's been
okay.
too busy.
I
Yeah.
know.
For one thing, but spreading this all over the place, it's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Thank you.
on it.
That's awesome.
Doing so well.
So if you are an agent out there and, you know, as we know, regulations are getting just tighter and tighter, and being able to effectively manage that entire transaction, see what's happening. And I know Lynn's favorite is make sure you get paid, which is extremely important. But managing that whole transaction, and if you're a brokerage, just that efficiency that you can get. This is definitely a product you need to be looking at, and definitely a key component of any brokerage. And so DealTrack would play an amazing part in that. So we want to thank you very much for watching this episode, and we look forward to the next time of chatting with you here on the Business of Real Estate podcast with Lynn Hoffmann and Eric Johnson.